what a treat. Listen, I'm not going to waste your time analyzing design, combat, mechanics, and systems. Joseph Anderson put out a great video a few years ago, and I really don't have much to add beyond what he had to say. So if you haven't already seen that, it's linked in the description. I encourage everybody to go check it out. Just as soon as you've watched my video, of course. But I did find his take on the story specifically to be really interesting. I don't totally think that he did it justice, and it jogged a few thoughts in the old brain, so I wanted to discuss. Let's deep dive into it. Here is your spoiler warning. Do not watch this video if you don't want spoilers. This video is basically exclusively spoilers. It's a story video, so that should really go without saying, I think. Also, after you watch this video, if you enjoyed what you saw, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more. Additionally, seeing as how I have never made anything like this before, I would really, really appreciate it if you could leave me your constructive criticism in the comments. Emphasis on constructive. Please, please, let's keep it constructive, dear God. Now, I gave this game 2 playthroughs, and with regards to narrative, I had 2 totally different experiences each time. The story is simple, but the way it's told and the way it unfolds is really, it's something special. So let's take a closer look. So we open with this robot, who I'm gonna call Robot, freeing our player character, who I have to assume is called Hob, though it's never explicitly stated, from a high-tech, stone, prison-like room. After following Robot's lead for a short time, Hob's arm is poisoned by these purple poison plants that are gathered in bunches throughout the map. Robot quickly and relatively savagely chops off your arm, which is a little jarring, but it sure does keep the poison from spreading. He then sacrifices his own arm to you, so this big mechanical guy is your arm now, and Robot is stuck with only one of his own. It is safe to assume Robot's a pretty good dude, and I kind of have a big crush on him. Moving on quickly, we gotta move quick. Through pointing and grunting, Robot guides us on a path to methodically rid the planet of all the infectious purple plants, and to return the landscape to an even, traversable, beautiful, dare I say, sexy state. As Hob navigates his way through this expansive, shifting world full of mysterious underground caverns and mechanical wonders, twice he runs into and receives the help of a little fella that I can only describe as Purple Hob-like. I'll call him Purplehead, and he's a cutie. By the end of the game, Hob finds himself at the top of a very tall tower occupied by 2 Hob-like carcasses, each sitting on thrones restrained by the purple poison plants. The Hob-like king carcasses suddenly awaken, revealing themselves to be the opposite of carcasses. Hob is mistakenly infected yet again. The view pans to the left and reveals Purplehead, kneeling before this thing that makes me uncomfortable. Hob hobbles away from the 2 king Hob-likes and falls before 8.5 out of 10 hottie Queen Purple, who sure does appear to be the source of all the purple poison plants. In a twist, she actually seems really nice and proceeds to save Hob's life by absorbing the poison from his system. After some relatively cute, queenie mumbles and pantomimes, the player is then given a choice: to have Hob join Purplehead and Queen Purple, or to kill both of them and save the Hob-like kings. Now, like I said, I gave this game 2 playthroughs, and at the end of the first, I really felt that the proper choice was stupidly obvious. I was confused as to why I was even being given a choice in the first place. It seemed forced. It was, what is this, an RPG all of a sudden? Like, I didn't get it. I appreciated Queenie saving me from the purple poison, and I appreciated Purplehead helping me on my journey, but it seemed like Queenie was the one who caused the poison problem in the first place, so her healing me was a pointless gesture, and I had Hob stay faithful to his people, and I murdered her infectious 8.5 out of 10 as. It wasn't until my second playthrough that I realized I hadn't discovered the entire story. Similar to Dark Souls, the game's full backstory isn't revealed unless the player is willing to explore. There are
5
exceptionally well-hidden chambers with walls covered in glyphs that can be found scattered throughout the map. I missed all but one of these chambers in my first playthrough, and after finding them on my second, I came to the realization that, depending on how you interpret things, these glyphs fundamentally changed the entire story, and this is where things get beautifully murky. See, these glyphs are totally up for interpretation. It is not clear exactly what they say. The only thing that is clear is that they provide substantive backstory. Now, I interpreted these glyphs as telling the story of Hobbs people invading the planet and taking over, fundamentally altering the landscape with massive machinery, with little regard for the indigenous people who were ruled by Queen Purple. So, to protect the planet, Hob and his people were imprisoned by Queenie, their rulers restrained to their thrones by purple poison plants. Now, others, such as Joseph Anderson, interpreted the glyphs as telling the story of Queen Purple and her people coming down and taking over the planet, which falls in line with a much more traditional hero's journey. Bad guys invade, bad guys take over, bad guys imprison our hero escapes and saves the world. Totally opposite take, and I just love this. I love it. I love the murk. I love that you have to figure things out and come to your own conclusions based on your own interpretations. And I love that you can genuinely alter how the story turns out based on the conclusions that you come to. I even love it that you can skip the backstory altogether. I mean, the ending becomes a lot more black and white and a lot less interesting if you skip the glyph chambers, but it still works. And let's not forget that this game's story is designed to be secondary to exploration. So using backstory as a reward for exploration actually makes complete sense. It's totally brilliant. So let's get back to the end of the game. What happens if Hob stays loyal to his people and sides with the Hob-like kings? Well, a battle with Purplehead ensues, and after defeating him, you pretty savagely murder Queen Purple. A cutscene follows during which all of Hob's people are released from stone prison doors, identical to the one Robot opened and freed Hob from at the very beginning of the game. The post-credit cutscene displays a simple image of Robot lying lifeless on the ground. Now, without the full backstory, this seems like a relatively triumphant ending, minus Robot dying. But with the backstory as I interpreted it, the Hobbies start to look like really extreme imperialists, and you can't help but question, is this what's right for the planet? I mean, is this what's fair? And what happens if you take the alternative route and you have Hob join Queen Purple? Well, the gameplay is done, and you're treated to a cutscene, which shows Robot moving through the landscape that is now absolutely covered in purple poison. Robot stops, then opens and peers through one of our favorite stone prison doors, and the game ends. And I took this to mean that Hob's journey is cyclical, and that he is not the first to have gone on it. In my mind, Purplehead used to be an uncorrupted Hob-like creature. He was freed from prison by Robot, journeyed to rid the planet of purple poison, only to realize that Queen Purple was in the right all along, which is why Purplehead now serves her. It's exactly the same journey as Hob. So, keeping full backstory as I interpreted it in mind, both endings carry a lot of weight. And your decision becomes like 17.5 times more significant. Now, listen, do I have my issues with the story? Yeah, I know. It's not in the script. Why I can't include that? For one thing, the storytelling is lopsided. It's heavy at the beginning and it's heavy at the end, but all we really get along the way are the glyph chambers, which are optional, and Purplehead's helpful acts. And frankly, it doesn't really make sense to me that Purplehead was helping us out in the first place. He serves the very same Queen Purple that you're journeying to destroy. Joseph Anderson's interpretation of the backstory, my interpretation of the backstory, it doesn't matter. It just does not make sense that Purplehead is helping you out. But maybe you feel differently. Maybe I'm missing something. Let me know in the comments. And finally, the big final decision, the one that the whole game is working towards, it's made much, much less significant when after the final cutscene, which is only a couple of minutes long, the game reloads directly before the final big decision. So I saw both endings in about 3 minutes, and I didn't have to go to YouTube to do it. It seems weird to me. It just seems to pull some significance, you know? But really, in the grand scheme of things, these are really tiny gripes, and considering how cool the narrative as a whole truly is, they're almost not even worth talking about. I love the way this narrative is set up. At surface level, the plot points, they're really simple, but it's how the points are delivered. It's how the backstory is delivered that makes Hobbs' narrative really something worth talking about. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please, please help me. I am so new at this. Let me know how I suck. Just please go easy on me. You know, I'm trying to learn. And if you did like what you saw, please consider liking the vid, consider subscribing to the channel. I've had such a blast making this video, and yeah, I can't wait to share more with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. You goddamn Skoonges.